I'd like to call the meeting to order. Marcy, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Adoption of the agenda. Any changes, Steve?
Just have one change under Roman numeral 4, Superintendent's Report, Item D, NHS Fall Sports Update. We're going to move that to December.
Okay, very good.
D.
Sports update D.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda of Tuesday, November the 13th as presented with the elimination of item 4D.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Good. I'm the only one who voted. Call to the public. I have one request. Alfredo Velasquez. I have more than one.
Good evening, Governing Board President, members of the board, Mr. Zimmerman, members of the community. I just wanted to congratulate Wade Carpenter Middle School for the great recognition that you brought the county and the community of Nogales. To the teachers, you're the backbone of this great school. To the parents, you wouldn't, you know, it takes the parents and the teachers and everyone to come together to do this. And the students, you know, who made it possible. We talk about students not being able to learn and the difficulty that we all face in teaching them. And you sent the message out there that anything is possible. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Chavez and staff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, governing board members and Superintendent Zimmerman. We chose to address you as a call to the public because we didn't know if we were officially going to be recognized since our name was not on the agenda. So first of all, I would like to let you know, and I know that you are already aware, that we have been awarded the National Title I Distinguished School Award, which we are so proud of. And, you know, we have met with the challenge, we've embraced the challenge since 2005 under the leadership of Mrs. Montiel, which I am very privileged and proud to be a part of her working team. And as a staff, and I acknowledge everybody who's here, parents and staff and students, that we all are working together and we will continue to do so because our commitment is for the students, and we have a leader who has a philosophy that as with our own children, as we would have for our own children, we want the best for our students and to be treated the way our own children we expect of. So with that in mind, our staff has met all the challenges, all the commitments, everything that we have gone through and all the changes, and we've adapted to get to this point. We have seen its fruition, and we are just so very proud. And like I said right now, it is all because of the leadership that we have. And that leadership is that, yes, we can do it. Anything is possible. And that has been her attitude since the very beginning. We are going into our 8th year, and nothing makes me prouder to stand here before you and tell you how proud and how privileged I have been to work under her leadership. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Zimmerman, board members, special guests, friends. I can tell that my colleagues and I have been really, really overwhelmed by all the attention and recognition that we have received these past few weeks. I mean, it's just, I still get goosebumps thinking about it, what we accomplished. And I'm going to tell you that it was not easy. This challenge for us was not easy because for me, I have served 12 years at Carpenter. And the year I got there, the year before that, they had changed the mascot from the Devils to the Eagles. And it's been a challenge. It's been, we've had some good times and we've had some rough times along the way. But the key issue is that we have leadership. And, being identified as a Title I school, of distinction is quite an honor. As Mr. Zimmerman mentioned to us when we were initially briefed on our school winning this award, that this is an award that's once in a lifetime. And that is truly it, once in a lifetime. It reminds me when I coached a group of young ladies to win a state title, and that was also an accomplishment of once in a lifetime. For me, I have been blessed to be a teacher in this district. I have been blessed because I started off at Welty. I'm doing my 19th year now, and I have one more year to serve this district. And I know this moment that we have is one of the moments that I will carry with me forever and ever to the day I die, this accomplishment that we did. When we look at this, that we had a strong leader. And there's a wonderful cliche that I've always used and followed when I was in the military. And I learned it when I was at Fort Benning, Georgia, the School of the Infantry. And it was basically you lead, follow, or get out of the way. In this case, we had a wonderful, strong leader. And I'm telling you, she is tough. She's a demanding teacher. And that's what leaders have to be. Leaders have to be demanding and tough because it's lonely at the top. When you're lonely up there, you're the one that has all the responsibility. You carry all those responsibilities on the shoulders, and you have to have strong leadership. And for us, it was a total commitment from everybody, not only the principal, but also the staff, all the teachers involved, from the principal all the way down to the janitorial staff, where we were involved in having commitment for these young men and women. And the teachers, we are there for the students. We are there in the mornings. I'm there in the mornings for tutoring. Ms. Soria, I know, is there for lunch, and we are there after school. That's where we had the success of our school because we were there for our students. If they fell down, we were there to pick them up. We gave every single student a chance to come back in again and again to achieve success in those exams. And I don't want to forget our parents, and you parents have been out there with us. Thank you for your support because we can't make it without you because it takes a group effort. The teachers, the leadership, and the parents, and also the students. The students also have to be committed to what we want to do. You have to be committed. If you want an A, you've got an A. One of my sayings in my classroom is, I don't give A's and I don't give F's. You earned them. You earned those grades. And, to close in my presentation today is, there's a wonderful woman that's out there named Margaret Mead, and she had a wonderful saying. And I think this embodies what we have at Carpenter. Never doubt the power of a small group of committed individuals to change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Go Eagles.
Good afternoon, Mr. Zimmerman, board members, and community members of Nogales. My name is Melissa Silva, and I'm an 8th grade teacher at Carpenter. I've been at Carpenter for the past 12 years, and I have witnessed all the changes and transformations that have taken place at that school. I still remember the day Mrs. Montiel came on board. Her very first day she walked into campus. Determined is the word that I would use to describe her that day. She was determined to turn Carpenter around. She was not afraid of the challenges that had been placed on her. Now that I think of it, after all that's happened and all these changes and transformations, I realize that the district administration placed that challenge on her because you knew her strive and determination were the factors that Carpenter needed. We needed a leader there to get things done. She knew, you guys knew that she was the one that would get things done, and that's what she's been doing. The district knew it took a strong leader to get the job done, and she's done it. She's embraced that challenge, and she was not afraid. She took the chance, made her own track, and turned Carpenter around 180 degrees. She has built a strong team of teachers, but without the leadership at our school, things would not be the way they are right now. Without her leadership and that of fellow coworkers, this award would not have been possible. We are very excited about this award. because it is time for everyone in our community to realize that Carpenter is a great school, and we have proven it with the results. Our students come to school to learn, and they are treated like our own children. Proof of this is that Mr. Zimmerman, via email, told Mrs. Montiel that if he had his children, Emma and Drew here, he would send them to that school. This only proves that at Carpenter we are getting things done. We now embrace this prestigious award and look forward to continuing to do what we do best, is teach. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Zimmerman, members of the school board, colleagues, and community members. My name is Maya Donnelly, and I teach at Wade Carpenter as well. The last couple of weeks around our campus have been really exciting, to say the least. Being the recipient of this national Title I Distinguished School Award for Arizona is a big deal for us. It's the closest we'll ever get to, say, winning an Oscar or a Super Bowl ring. I mean, this is it. Accolades like this don't present themselves very often in our little neck of the woods. So we're extremely proud. But what's next? This is the question that the visitors from the State Department asked us at our exit report meeting. 6 days later, when we got the news that we had won the award, I'll tell you, we weren't thinking about what's next. We were living in the now, screaming, crying, jumping up and down, high-fiving, and after the kids went home, threatening to call Subfinder so we could continue our celebration. But you better believe, come the next morning, in our inboxes was a message from our principal that read loud and clear: keep working as hard as always. Be relentless in your classrooms. Keep students engaged in learning. I'm guessing since we were the only middle school in the top 15, being relentless is what got us here. Don't let your guard down for a minute, she urged, and we don't plan to. So what is next? Well, I'll tell you, our 8th graders are learning Algebra 1. Science and social studies teachers are integrating grammar, usage, and mechanics into their writing curriculums. And language arts and math departments are introducing Common Core standards to better prepare our students for success. Fine arts instructors, PE teachers are developing academic vocabulary and also reinforcing study and organizational skills for our students. We're going to continue working as a team to promote a college-going culture on our campus, and this is nothing new to us. I'll tell you, it's like Ms. Montiel has a crystal ball or something. 8 years ago, she purchased college flags, hung them up in our cafeteria, required every teacher to have a college corner in their classroom. We expose our students on a daily basis to the opportunities that await them, and we stress the importance of planning and aspiring to be college and career ready. In fact, this year we're starting a new program where students and families will come together once a month to set goals, to plan for their future. Think college is what we call it, our t-shirts here. We want to instill the belief in our students that everyone is capable of getting a post-secondary education. It's no secret that we love Obama on our campus. And in his victory speech the other night, he talked about a future with hope. A future with hope. And that going forward, stay with me here, and that going forward didn't always look like a straight line or a smooth path, but working together is where we have to begin. And in my imagination, and I'm sure in that of my coworkers and in that of our students as well, we'd like to think Obama was speaking directly to us, telling us that as long as we had the courage to keep reaching, to keep working, to keep fighting, something better always awaits us. Ms. Montiel always says hard work pays off, and it may not be today or tomorrow. But she and President Obama have the same philosophy when it comes to a person's willingness to try. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, what you look like, if you're young or you're old, if you're rich or you're poor. Here you can succeed if you make it happen, and we did. Wade Carpenter Middle School is #1, state of Arizona. So that is what's next for us. I thank you for your time.
Any more Obama comments? I guess so.
That's a good comeback. That's a good one. Very creative.
Hello, my name is John Heeman. Welcome to board, and Mr. Zimmerman. We've been coming down, meaning my wife and I, for about a year now. And it's really been a very positive experience. We really like coming down. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. It all started when actually my wife was getting her hair done, and the hairdresser said, well, she knows this teacher and Wade Carpenter, and you know, she's having to buy supplies for books and needs books in her classroom, so we went out and bought some books and shipped them to Leslie Marchese. I know she's here someplace, to her classroom. And in a few months, we got 200 letters from the students saying really great things. How much it meant to them, how much they appreciated that somebody thought about them. Well, that just sort of got things going. We became interested. We found that there was a need for books more generally in the classroom and in the library. So we started getting a collection of books. And I live in Green Valley. I live there now full-time for a year and a half. And so we started talking to our friends and to the organizations in the community that we work with. And I think at this point, lots of people are dropping books in our house. At this point, we've accumulated more than 1,000 books, which have been distributed to the classrooms and in the library. And the other day I heard that kids are taking books home. And we think that's really great. Kids need books in their homes for their brothers and sisters to be read. I mean, the reading is really a critical thing. Well, and this whole process, we started coming down here more often, and we met with Lisa, who's just a fantastic principal, and we really enjoy working with her. We met teachers, we met staff, we met students, we met volunteers, and everybody is friendly, positive, open. It's just a great joy to be able to come down here. Along the way, we found that there was a need for some volunteer tutors. So we asked some of our friends back in Green Valley. So I think now there are 5, 6, 8 tutors that come down once a week for an hour. And I get exactly the same story from them that I told you. They love coming down here. They love working with the kids. Everybody is friendly. The kids are so respectful, and they love coming on and doing this. Now, we care about this because these young men and women are our future of Nogales, of Arizona, of the country. Some of them will become our leaders. And it's important that we, senior citizens like myself, care about these students and volunteer our time and do whatever we can do for these students. And again, in closing, it's just an absolute joy. Now, I did forget one thing. My wife is really the driver of this whole thing, but she unfortunately has a flu today and could not come, so I've been working with her a lot too, but she wants you to know that she really thinks the same thing I do, that she loves the school, loves the students, and it's really a great organization, and you should be proud of them. Thank you.
I just want to say, sir, I appreciate you sharing with us and sharing with your friends in Green Valley to let them know what a great community, what a great safe community this is. And that's the type of outreach that we really need for people to see that this is a fantastic community. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Board members, Mr. Zimmerman, staff of Carpenter and Nogales community, congratulations on this award. About 12 years ago, I sat on the school board with a vision that we count every child, and that we set the goal very high for measuring our progress, but with the success of every child. And today we see that that goal has been met at Carpenter School. And I congratulate you, I congratulate the school board for continuing on that path, because every child deserves a good education, and Nogales Unified School District is working hard to provide that. I have visited Carpenter School since Mrs. Montiel has become principal, and it's a wonderful campus once again. And I see her leadership skills through a unique perspective. As you all know, my son is an educator there at the site. She works well with her staff. She is very committed to seeing the success of every child on that campus, and we can all stand here and be proud. The work was hard, but the successes are great, and we can all be proud for this distinguished school that we have in our district. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Nash, board members, Mr. Zimmerman. Wonderful stuff for Carpenter, students, and community members. Don't worry, I'm not here as a part of the business office. Carla is the expertise in doing it. I'm here as a proud parent for Carpenter. And I would like to appreciate to Mrs. Montiel and the wonderful staff, the hard work that you guys done for our kids. And on behalf of the parents for this community, sorry. I would like to appreciate the hard work, like I say, and I want to take this opportunity to invite all the parents in our community to be involved in the process of education for our kids. Everybody knows that education starts at home. It's not only teacher responsibility, and it's very important to everybody be involved in that. Like I say, as a proud parent from Carpenter, on behalf of all the parents in the community, Mrs. Montiel, thank you so much for this wonderful job. And I read in a book a long time ago that everybody is the disciple of your dreams. And I would like to invite everybody to think about our future. Kids, be prepared. Living in Nogales, this is a very unique community. And everybody's excited lately with the Apache being so successful and football. My son is part of the team as well. And it's in our hands to help our kids to be successful. So doing a wonderful job, supporting the wonderful staff and administration, board members, Mr. Zimmerman. Congratulations, the one was re-elected in the past elections. If you guys are there, it's for some reason. On behalf of all the parents in the community, thank you so much for all the support for education in our kids in this community. Thank you.
Hold on for a second, Lisa.
Big shoes to fill
I just want you
here.
all to know that when we get to item B under superintendent's report, that I'll make some comments. So after this call to the public, don't any of you leave. All right, because usually after call to the public, everybody's like mass exodus, so please don't leave.
Oh, I just want to, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Hector's not here. I would have liked for him to be here because he started many years ago when I started at Carpenter. He sent a very nice email to me the other day, and I read it to the staff. And basically, he said that he wanted to thank everybody involved, the parents and the students, and the teachers. And he said great schools have great leaders, but I truly believe that they also have great teachers. And I often say I surround myself with very smart people, and I mean it. And you can see yourselves here that they are all committed. They help me to build the things that I want to build on. I'm not afraid. I can't afford to be afraid. I can't. I live with two very smart people at home, and I have to keep up with them. And so I often look to see what things I can do out there. So I do call often a little girl in the East to find out what they're doing up there, because I think Marcy said this before, and what's out there, go emulate successful programs that exist in other schools. You've always said that, and I've always remembered that. So we will keep learning. I'll continue to take big risks. I'm not afraid of them. Maybe something's wrong with me, but why not take them? But honestly, I have a great staff. They work hard. They go beyond the call of duty. We generate ideas. We work together. We are not afraid to disagree. I want people to disagree with me and tell me when something should be improved. They're not yes people. I don't want yes people. I want people to challenge me. I want people to implement the best practices in the classrooms. I'm very elated. You can only imagine. This is such an honor. Mr. Thompson called me a few days ago. If you remember, Barbara, I think you went with him when he won the Blue Ribbon Award. And so this is what it's all about. People working together. It truly takes a village to raise these wonderful kids, and I'm very happy to be their principal. And thank you, parents, for allowing me to be Lisa Montiel. Thank you so much. You trust us with your child's education, and that's very important. It's very important to me and to my teachers. So once again, thank you, board members. Mr. Zimmerman, thank you for also supporting me, because when you feel supported, you go out there and you do the things that you feel are the right things for children. So thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Hunter, Dr. Nash. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he always tells me to call him Hunter, so sorry. Dr. Nash, and Mrs. Suarez is not here, but thank you to her too, and of course Mr. Arana. Mr. Morales, thank you for all the support you've given our school and our children, and the time you give also being a board member. And Mr. Varona, thank you. Dr. Varona, thank you very much. And Mary, you too, thank you. Thank you very much. All of you, thank you. So, and thank you to the administration, Kathy and Carla and Myra, all of them. I said it truly takes an entire village. The schools are the heart of our city, and they should be proud of the city too. So I got a group of kids. Do you want to do your thing, or do you want to see my angels?
I just want to do a group hug right now. I'm just
Yeah,
feeling
I
that.
know, yeah.
There's a lot of love going on
A lot
here.
of love, yeah. Yeah, so do you want to see my love, I call them my adopted 650 children. Would you like to see them first, or would you like to take a few moments? You want to see
No,
them?
I'll just say
Yeah.
that next Wednesday I'm going to be at your school for the assembly, and I'm going to, and believe me, I already know what I'm going to say, because it really comes down to a lot of hard work, and I don't want to give these kids sort of any kind of an idea as to what I'm going to say. So go ahead and do what you want to do with them. And then I'm waiting for my item, because there's a lot to celebrate in addition to Wade Carpenter. So, yeah, are these like all the math whizzes at the school? Because they have their little math shirts on in the back.
They're just whizzes overall.
Oh, yeah?
They put a skit together, a quick skit on Friday. Of course, the kids, I don't know who's more excited, the teachers, the parents, the kids, but so you all ready? Yeah, so you may start. Yeah.
And I'm the Wade Carpenter Middle School Student Body President, and these are my friends.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ramiro.
I'm Cielo.
I'm Anthony.
I'm River. I'm Alexa. Eagle. I'm Andres.
And we are the Proud Eagles. And today we have a little skit that we put together for you, and I hope you enjoy it.
Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are, so we tell them, we are Arizona's super duper students, we are Arizona's super duper students, we are We are amigos. Here at Wade Carpenter. Here at Wade Carpenter. My school is cool. My school is cool. So that's why we rule.
Bravo!
I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much, all.
Don't leave. See some of you grabbing your Porfy. Porfy, seriously, just sit down.
All right, thank you. Item 3, governing board updates. Marcy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I attended the Red Ribbon Luncheon, and I want to thank Lincoln Elementary School for once again hosting the Red Ribbon Luncheon. Extremely important event, and Governor Raul Castro was a guest speaker and told us about, making right decisions, especially as it deals with your choices with drugs. Wonderful event that was there. I also want to compliment on your school reports. A.J. Mitchell and Lincoln School on the walk to school, incorporating fitness into that, and Coronado for reminding all of your students, faculty, and parents about Veterans Day. I also attended Challenger 3-of-a-kind play by the 3rd graders, and it's on YouTube right now. And I want to thank Mr. Miller, Mrs. Cabrera, Lisa Cabrera, and the other Cabrera is Rebecca, Emma Tannery, and Luis Garcia. They did a wonderful job with that play over there at Challenger Elementary. It was an excellent play and very well attended. I also want to once again, paraphrase the comments that was made by the gentleman from Green Valley on Wade Carpenter's Middle School Award. It's wonderful when we talk about ourselves, but as the chairman of the board indicated, it's more meaningful when somebody from the outside comes and tells us, you're doing a good job. And when he got up there to say, hey, I give of myself, I'm there, I'm a volunteer, all I want to do is help, I see great things at the school. And then this award that is given as the top best middle school in this Title I program is accolades to all of you as a group. Nobody was singled out. It takes a principal who understands the culture of the school to go ahead and magnify the goodness that it has. And just want you to know that the community is very proud of what you've done and your emphasis on academic achievement above all. And students, wonderful play. You do rule. And finally, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Nash, our chairman, Mr. Morales, and new school board member, Manuel Reese, on their election to the school board. I look forward to working with all 3 of them in a very positive manner to go ahead and continue to have greatness as we have been previously exhibited. And I don't want to, I think I want to paraphrase something that Mrs. Montiel also said, that we should not forget, and when she said that the superintendent shows support. And we have to understand that these things come when there's good support from the top administrators in our district. And I'm glad that the superintendent of school and Mr. Para, the associate superintendent of school, do everything they can to support and make you guys successful. So to all of you, congratulations. The community is once again extremely proud of all of your efforts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
First, I want to thank my supporter for giving me another 4 years. I will do the job. I have been doing the job. Next, I would like to congratulate Mrs. Montiel for her hard work. And I think we have proven something to the educational leaders in Phoenix, the educational leaders at the federal level, that poor kids can learn. And as you know, we have an award for it. And we have in Mrs. Montiel a great leader. She can manage, and she's got some great leadership skills, and she's got a very, very good staff. Thank you.
We're doing board comments. Was there anything you'd like to?
I'm sorry I'm late.
Thank you for showing. Any board updates? I'll
No,
let you
no
settle
board
on.
updates.
Still let you settle on. Okay. I'd just like to say a couple things. One, as y'all know, I graduated 3 boys from Nogales High School, and my youngest is going to private school at South Point Catholic. So I'm up in Tucson a lot, and I'm always extolling the virtues of this border community. I fell in love with this place 25 years ago, and to hear the gentleman from Green Valley say that, I always tell people how great Nogales is, but at the South Point football game Saturday at the tailgate, before that, there were people coming up to me and saying, the school in Nogales won that award? I go, yes. And more than 2 or 3 people came up to me and said that, and I'm always letting them know how hard we work down here in the school. And there's always a couple kids I found out from Nogales who end up going to South Point Catholic, and believe it or not, they talk about how great this community is, and I applaud Lisa, your staff, your students, and this community for achieving what you have. And believe it or not, as a board member, you're very proud to be a part of it, a very small part of it. But I want to thank really Mr. Zimmerman for putting, and I'll even go back to Sean McCullough for putting together an atmosphere that fosters excellence and success. So I thank you and applaud you for that as well. Second, I want to applaud Vince Villanucci, Mr. Colgate, Vince Villanucci, and their whole football program for achieving what they've done to take out a number 3 seed and a number 11 seed, and this week they go up against a number 2 seed, and it reminds me of how the University of Arizona took out 3 number 1 seeds when they won the national title in '97. And I'm hoping that I'm already proud of those boys, those young men, for what they've done, and I wish them good luck this Friday night and trying to keep it going. Thank you. All right, next item, superintendent's report.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go to the podium for this.
Sure.
And no, we didn't get the same memo about dressing the same today, because he got the tie on and a white shirt, suit. Come on. See, county superintendent's got jokes. You know, it is. Can you hear me? It's rare that elected officials get credit that is due to them, but I wanted to give an acknowledgement, a recognition to Alfredo, because at least since I've been here, I can tell you this. Being a county superintendent whose roots are in Nogales, where he does have passion for Nogales, I want to make a statement right away, serving on his cabinet that he has in the meetings that I attend, that he is 100% behind all of the schools in the county. But I said to him that I was going to bring him up here because I wanted to thank him, because recently we already know about the PEP grant, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but recently we were able to secure $16,000 worth of Chromium laptops, which will be about 32 laptops thereabout. I know the number changes a little bit with the price, but those will be going to Desert Shadows Middle School, and that was a decision made with the technology department. But I wanted to give him thanks for, not just for the things he gives us, but just the support that he shows to this community. It has been 5 years. He has become a very good friend of mine and someone that I very much respect, and I wanted you all to hear from me just how much we appreciate what he does and things that you don't even know when he's in his office, the people that he's talking to, the grants that he's trying to secure, because the economic times as they are really makes it difficult for us to do the things that we really want to do. And I just wanted to give him a thank you in front of all of you.
Mrs. Montiel, I want to share some good news with you. I know how much the college, the Leadership Summit was important to you. So under the PEP grant, there was a supplemental grant. And I told Mike, and I told Janet, and I told them about this Leadership Summit and how important it was and how great it was. So we went ahead and applied for it. So Wade Carpenter Middle School gets between 10 and 15,000 for this Leadership Summit for Greta. So thank you so much.
See, that's why we love him. Before I bring Lisa up here, I want to at least inform the board, just in case you don't know, the next item is the national award that we've been hearing about through Call to the Public. Let me tell you a few things. I have a Title I director in this room, and I'm just wondering if Kathy knows how many Title I schools we have in Arizona. Oh, I counted them. I counted them. I counted them because I had to know. Because I kept saying, is it really that? Like all that? And so what I did is if you go to the ADA website, go to Title I, you can get the schools by county. They don't just give you a number. So there's 28 pages. I counted every single one of them. 1,235. I don't know how many were up for the award or even applied, but I wanted, at least before I really brag about Wade Carpenter, I want to give some credit to a few other schools. As you know, 15 visitations took place. 4 of them took place here in Nogales. Welty. It was Welty, Bracker, Coronado, and Wade Carpenter. And the message that I wanted to get out, and I saw a little, I think, Lisa, you put together, it's that little picture of you in your pajamas. You know what I'm talking about, Lisa. Halloween, was that pajamas? Oh, okay, but anyway, I was reading that, and the one thing that I wanted to say during the visitations, because we did have a couple people following them around for those 2 days, 4 hours for each school with Kathy and Angel, and the one thing that I wanted them to know is that sometimes when you have solutions teams, people from North Central, they come to the school and they put on dog and pony shows. We didn't put on a dog and pony show. What I wanted them to know is that on any given day, you could go to those 4 schools, if not all of them, and what you see is what you get. That the schools are the way they are, the students are the way they are, the teachers and the principals, they are who they are, and they give 200% on every given day. So there was no dog and pony show. They were all deserving. Well, I know that they called Lisa up and they told her the good news, but they didn't give her all the news because they probably just didn't think it was appropriate, because you don't want to slight the other 14 schools. And I'm not going to do that. I will tell you this, that all 4 of our schools were in the top 10. I won't tell you the whole rank because I told her I wouldn't do that. Maybe they'll do that at Thursday's luncheon when State Superintendent Huppenthal acknowledges at the mega conference the award. And obviously the bigger achievement is when they go to Nashville in order to get the big award and put us at on the national scene. I'm very proud. I'm going to talk a little bit about Lisa because when I first met Lisa, I could just tell just because she was always up disaggregating the data and just hammering it home, hammering it home, hammering it home. And last year when she scored 140 some points, I remember her saying, wow, that was a lot. How am I going to do this again next year? And she turns around and gets a 165. Don't you students know that you're not supposed to be achieving like this? Well, because Title I schools and sometimes the correlation that people put with whether it's poverty or not coming from high wealth, that you're not you're not supposed to be achieving the way that you are. But I get so much satisfaction from the emails that I get from comments such as, I didn't know that Nogales had it going on like that. I didn't know they had a basketball team, those guys could ball. I didn't know that we're winning the AIA Directors Cup, and it's nice to win all these athletic awards that we acknowledge here at the board meetings, but to me, make no mistake, being a retired athlete, athletics is important, but it has never been more important than the academic achievement and getting that ticket to go to college and make something out of yourself, being a producer of society and not a consumer of society. And it is just really nice that we have schools that are here and they are stepping up and doing what they have to do. And it is the leadership primarily at the school sites, but make no mistake once again, it really is the teachers. It's really you kids doing what you're supposed to do, doing what you are told to do, and hopefully at home that your parents are giving you the enrichment and the things that you need to be successful and get you at the top. It is nice because you guys get to go around now and brag that you're number one. And I can tell you right now, though they only acknowledge the top two, I think we all know who is number one. Okay, so I know there's more to come for the good of the board. There's a lot of things that Lisa and her team put together in terms of what we're going to do to celebrate. I'm not going to talk about all those things, but I am talking about item number 8, bullet number 8 on your list, which is the more permanent award, which if you go to Challenger, you'll see like a monument that has been put up. To me, that is the most important item because it speaks over time. And 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, it will be there, and names will be on there, and it is a very important distinction to have. So I am very proud. I'm so excited to go up there on Thursday because I'm going to see other administrators that I know, and I will be bragging out of my mind. Because you know what? There's a difference between conceit and bragging. This is bragging because you deserve it. True? So all I can say is congratulations to all 4 schools, but more important, hey, there can only be one winner at the end of the day, and it's you folks right here.
Next item.
This is where they all start sneaking out. Should we allow them to?
Sure.
Go ahead.
They
Go
deserve
ahead,
it.
folks. Thank you all for coming.
I can barely even see him.
Just a superstar.
I came in last night and I was looking at emails this afternoon in my office going, there's a school board meeting? Yeah. I gotta get out of here. Thank you very much.
She thanked all the board members.
She's done a wonderful job because we still have the issue with her system. Okay,
Okay.
And it's real good. It's hitting the spot.
What? Oh,
Are we ready? I wanna go. Item C.
All right, ready to move on to item C of the superintendent's report?
Just for the good of the board, the PEP grant is the physical education grant that was written. Just wanted to give you a quick update. As you know that there are, maybe we get that door closed.
See you, Sonny.
Dr. Utney, could you please close that door? Thank you.
Sonny.
The The PEP grant is the grant that was written by the county. It was initiated and allows us to give 6 PE teaching positions that would be funded. About $300,000 is our share of that grant. And just to let you know, as much as we are trying very hard to fill those positions, but we are not filling them unless we get the absolute right individuals into those positions. It is not your typical PE position. It is health, nutrition, so we're looking for individuals that are highly qualified in those areas. As of now, I think we have 3 of the 6. The good news is if we do take our time, we don't fill them, that money does roll over, and those schools will at least get their years down the road. But we will do our very best. If you read the newspaper this weekend, a very nice advertisement for a few of our positions that we currently have open. But I just want to let the board know, because I know that the other sites are probably can't wait till they get the PE in there, because it is one of their specials. So we are doing our very best to fill those positions, but we will take our time and get the absolute right person in there. Okay? And then item D we tabled. E and F are in your packets.
Very good. Moving on to item 5, discussion information. A, Nogales High School presentation on initiatives to promote college education. Thanks to me. All right.
That's your item. As you hear the horns, that is Wade Carpenter's parade.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, and Superintendent Zimmerman. We're here on the request of Dr. Nash to see what kind of programs or college readiness we have at Nogales High School. Today with me, I have my guidance department. They will be helping me present what Nogales High School, the initiatives that Nogales High School is doing in order to promote college readiness. And I have my 9th grade counselor, Isa Castillo, 10th grade, Yadira Higuera, 11th grade, Mr. Dan Moran, and 12th grade, Miss Amanda Hatfield. And if you can see this picture, this was taken last year during our college week. Every year we have a college week to promote college readiness, and also to promote that at the high school. So this picture was taken last year. And as you can see, Dr. Barona, we did have a representation from ASU.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you.
For the purpose of this presentation, I'm just going to go real quick about the responsibilities that our counselors have. Unfortunately, at Nogales High School, we do not have a college advisor. We have 4 academic advisors, but a lot of schools, they have one person devoted for college counseling. And unfortunately, we don't have that. But our guidance department does a great job about helping and getting that information out to the students. So some of the things that you can see that the counselors do, they're responsible for academic program placement. They monitor progress by doing credit checks and scheduling. They also promote and give the college prep testing, AP, IB, the SATs, SAT2s, and ACT. They also help us proctor the AIMS, ACELA test. They're responsible for doing the child study team, IEPs, 504 plans. They also help our students with admissions to university, college, military, anything post-secondary. And especially for the seniors, they help the students with scholarships, financial aid, college programs and placements. They do a lot of parent conferences and a lot of staffing conferences throughout the school year. And they're also responsible for summer school. I'm going to have our curriculum leader, Ms. Higuera, present to you on the new state ruling that asks every student, every high school student, to have an education and career action plan. This was in place has been in place since 2008, and Ms. Higuera will be presenting a little bit more about this.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, and Mr. Zimmerman. So for ECAP, it's a state mandate, okay? So it was approved by the State Board of Education, where every student in the 9th through 12th grade is required to have an action plan in place, which focuses on the 4 attributes listed below. So the first one is academics, where us as counselors help our students develop a 4-year plan, make sure they meet high school requirements versus university requirements, and make sure that they're on track for graduation. In the career aspect, we help our students develop career aspirations, goals, and explore career opportunities. In the area of post-secondary, we focus everything that has to do with post-secondary requirements, admissions, applications, anything that they might need, information they might need in order to go to universities or any post-secondary option. And the third one is extracurricular. Here we encourage our students to, right as a freshman, start getting involved in clubs, sports, getting involved in the community service, and of course always maintain documentation. So this is a requirement that is in place by the state, starting with the class of 2013. So every student from this class on will have an action plan in place. And so how do we do this? So we use a system from the state. It's an Arizona Career Information System. It's a free website. It's a free tool provided to us by the Arizona Department of Education, and we've included the pamphlets in your packets there. So what this is again, it's a very user-friendly, easy, a very simple website to use that we were, as counselors, we were all trained by our county superintendent and through our CTE director, Mrs. Fontes, on how to use this tool. And so what we do in this website is we schedule with our teachers, us counselors go into the classrooms or our computer labs, and then we help our students create a portfolio on this website. So on this, so they create a portfolio, they create a username, and they create a password, and it's completely online. So our students can access this website from home, from school, from their friend's house, the library, wherever they might be working or might need to get in it for any reason. And in this website, there's a lot of different content and resources that our students and parents could benefit from. It includes anything post-secondary, like careers, military employment, anything that they're interested in, they can research on this tool. They also provide a lot of inventories, career cluster inventories. Upon completion, the students can find out what career clusters they would be good at. And based on that information, they can go into a more thorough search within the system to find out if it's something they want to pursue, and then they get to know everything, the ins and outs of it, how much they'll be earning a year, what schools in Arizona offer these occupations, and of course, financial assistance. There's a lot of scholarship opportunities on this website that we as counselors encourage our students to apply. And Ms. Hatfield will go into a little bit more detail because scholarships are mostly in the senior level. But it is, I mean, again, it's a free website that parents can access it from home. I mean, if they would like to, I mean, sit down with their kids and find out what goals they've come up for themselves, either personal, career, educational. And so it's a free website that anybody can use. And as a district, we have a site for us. Ms. Fontes is the district director for the program. And another great thing is that there is middle school versions available, but again, it's not required for them to use it because it's only a requirement for high school students. But again, we can never start early enough planning for college and universities. So this is one of the tools we use to cover ECAP. Okay, so now I'll let Ms. Castillo speak a little bit of what is done in each grade level to prepare our students just college readiness. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Higuera. Good evening. Thank you for this time. For the ECAP, once it's in place, the principal, Mrs. Mendoza Jimenez, will have to sign off that everyone has that in place, and I will keep a hard copy to have proof for my 522 freshmen. Our high school success course offers hands-on to explore careers and attain academic and technical skills for these students. Other CTE courses for freshmen, it's because of their interest. They sign up for the Intro to Business, the Information Technology class, Graphic Design, and Carpentry class, cabinet making. Okay, this is their choice. It's, you know, if they don't take PE, that's what they could do. The honor courses, we, as 8th graders, we invited their parents and middle schools, Little Red, other schools from Calabasas. So they were there that night. We presented, also Mrs. Valenzuela was there. She's a coordinator for these courses. And also, when the 9th grade for new students orientation that night, again, this was discussed for them. We invited all the parents also, so we had a good turnout. Then for the Explore test, we are preparing our students for university. Explore test is a practice of the ACT. ACT is a requirement for university requirement for admissions. Okay, academic advising. I see my students, some on a daily basis because their progress, to make sure that they're on track, that they're taking the correct classes, for tardies, for absences, behaviors in the classroom, and transition to the high school. That's our main one. I monitor the students. If they're failing one or more classes, automatically I give them, assign them to go to tutoring. For the progress, the scheduling, it's by placements. Also the ASELA scores, ELD, students with special needs. Middle school teachers help us a lot because they're the ones that recommend the students to either take the Honors English 1 or the IB Biology 1. Every freshman will have a 4-year plan, which they'll revise every year. Credit checks are done after every semester. And the difference between university and our high school courses is, for university, it's 1 more advanced math, 2 of the same language, and 1 fine arts class. Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Higuera will come back as a sophomore counselor.
Okay. So as the sophomore counselor, I am in charge of 441 on-track sophomores. And what we do in starting their sophomore year is we update their ECAP. So through AZCIS. So what we do is we get all the students back in the computer labs and update their information, their 4-year plans. If anything changed from their freshman to their sophomore year on the courses they want to take, on career goals, they might change. So anything that changed within the transition from their freshman to their sophomore year, that's when we update all this information, along with any new documentation, any awards they've gotten, Student of the Month, honor roll, or any extracurricular activities that we need to start documenting. And so every year we update, and we start creating their portfolios, their resumes, everything ready for when they reach their senior year. They can have all this information to provide to scholarship to any universities that they are interested in. So a big emphasis is Ames, their sophomore year, since it is a state mandate, and during their sophomore year, they take it for the first time in their high school education. So that it's a very big emphasis where we make sure we have class meetings, we let the students know of this new the requirements and what they need to do in order to achieve passing all 3 Ames, along with we have parent meetings. We're going to have one in December where we have all the sophomore class parents come into our auditorium one evening, and we talk to them about Ames and what needs to be done as a team in order to have these kids be successful in all Ames. Also, we put out the information that they could potentially qualify for a tuition scholarship if they exceed on all 3 Ames. So we try to get that out there so that our students are aware of scholarship opportunities they have by doing well on the Ames. We promote the plan and the PSAT test their sophomore year. Again, it's preparing them for college, for universities. They can never practice enough. So the plan is like a pre-SAT where they focus on subject areas exactly like the ACT, and they get a score based on how they do. And that score, that way students know what they need to do better the next year when they have to take the ACT. And we also promote the PSAT for practice again, because that's the pre-SAT to our sophomores, so that they get this feel for taking these tests that can really determine where they go to college or not. Another thing that we focus in the 10th grade year, and is recommended now, is if we have student athletes that are interested in participating in any Division I or Division II athletics, they have to be certified and eligible through the NCAA Eligibility Center. So here we work closely with Mr. Colgate and communicating and getting all of our athletes aware of the requirements of the academic requirements and the rigorous courses they need to take in order to be able to be available to play in any Division I or Division school. Even though it doesn't really take in effect until their senior year, we start encouraging our sophomores to start, making their profile and start a name for themselves through athletics, but of course academics is the priority. In their sophomore year, we focus tremendously on our students that are honors. What path are they going to take? IB, AP, honors program. So at the end of their sophomore years, when they have to have made a final decision, what diploma or what program will they be pursuing? Because their freshman and sophomore years, they just take honor courses. But then their junior year, they have to decide what route will they be pursuing, and that's when we really have to, talk to them and encourage them to the options that are available for them. We continue with academic advising. We continue with the tardies, the absences, make sure that our kids are coming to school. If they're not, we're out there, we're doing home visits, finding out why our students are not on campus or why they're not in school, doing what they have to do in order to achieve a high school diploma or the high school requirements for graduation. The parent meetings, we can never have enough of those. It's hard to get them all in there because they are, working, or they have times that they cannot come in. And we also continue in encouraging summer programs to our sophomores, so they can, that programs that will provide enrichment for them, that will only add to their resume or determine a career option for them. Okay, so now I'll have Mr. Moret talk about what is done in the 11th grade level.
Good evening, Board, Mr. Zimmerman, guests. My name is Daniel Moran. I'm the junior counselor through the AZCIS and ECAP. Our students will continue to update their portfolios. By the end of this year, all our students should have their four-year plan, courses that they've taken, extracurricular activities, their awards, achievements, and updated the resumes. They'll also do career exploration and educational goals, review their career choices through admission requirements for college, scholarships, and financial aid. We're awaiting the results of the AIMS from this past fall, which was taken in October, and then what we'll do is we'll schedule students into courses for next year, or for next semester. We also had a parent meeting for AIMS held in September, and students were notified days before by the administration and myself about the tests that they needed and the test dates. The AB and IB exams for students are encouraged. For juniors, it's a 2-year program, so what they need to do is, most of them are going to take the test their senior year. We do encourage them to take the Spanish test. It is good for up to 22 college credits or university credits. So we encourage them because that's her native language. The ASVAB test was given in September. In October, the results were interpreted to them. You'll see in that picture there, Jared Reyes. He scored a 95. A 32 is required by the military to get in. And he's going to be going into, he's torn between the Army, his mom said no to the Marines. Academic advising, we do this on a daily basis through small groups, large meetings. With registration individually, students will come in, they'll sign up, they'll want to talk about something specific, maybe college, maybe financial aid, scholarships, etc. The PSAT, the parent class meetings, what we do is we had one on August 29th. We had a parent meeting. I've given you a sample of what we do at some of these meetings. The PSAT was given in October to 115 students, 7 were sophomores. Test results should be available in November or December, and then what we'll do is we'll interpret them. We did have 3 students qualify for the Hispanic National Merit. That was a $15,000 renewable scholarship, $1,500 to study abroad, an iPad, only good at the University of Arizona. Sorry, doctor. Summer programs and applications are made available during the spring, usually around February. They're announced in the classroom or by teachers or by myself or in the bulletin. A number of programs are available, and the applications are picked up in my office or in the guidance office. Programs include Med Start, Boys and Girls State, Cesar Chavez Leadership, National Youth Leadership, etc. And then finally, ACT and SAT. Those are recommended the second semester of the junior year. The reason they're recommended during the junior year is because you want to have a score in place in order for yourself to qualify for scholarships that are available by October, and also to put your admissions in to university and colleges. And we recommend one test the fall, or like I said, the spring of their junior year, and then again in their sophomore or senior year to get a better score. Thank you. And now Ms. Hatfield, please.
Good evening, President Nash, school board members, and Mr. Zimmerman and guests. As the senior class counselor, I work very closely with the students, something that I want to reinforce before I go over all the things I work with the students. As you can see at the freshman, sophomore, and junior level, a lot of things are happening to prepare our kids to be ready for the university and to be confident in high school that they can perform past high school. Ms. Castillo talked about how at the freshman level we really emphasize the transition into high school and getting them ready to be high school students. As a senior class counselor and as a guidance department, we've talked about how we need to teach our students at the senior level self-advocating traits. They have to go out and seek these things. We offer a ton of stuff at Nogales High School, and at this age, they need to be proactive. They need to go out and seek these things out. So I just want to reinforce that as I go over my things, the different things that we do in the guidance department at the 12th grade level, how we really encourage it, we announce it, we put out the information, but we really need the students to actively take a role in this. So the first thing that we do is we finalize their ECAP, their state requirement. This year I'm working with the government teachers. I've already worked with a third of the seniors to finalize their ECAP, their AZCIS. They have created their resumes. Attached in your packet to the salmon colored paper is their letter of recommendation form that I passed out to them at the beginning of the school year. The purpose of this is just, again, to self-advocate. They write down all of their accomplishments, the courses they've taken, anything that they've done to set themselves apart from other students. This shows us who they are as an individual. This they can provide to someone in order to write a letter of recommendation for them so that it's a more accurate reflection of the student and their accomplishments. They've all the third of the students that have finished their AZCIS have created a resume. They all have a resume. Ms. Corbett and I have worked with them in their government class to do this. We also work with them on admission requirements and necessary applications. There are a lot of questions. A lot of the seniors are first generation college bound. Some of them have older siblings, but they haven't talked to their siblings. There's a generation gap. There's a gap in age. Whatever it is, they just didn't realize the different requirements and stuff. So they come with me and meet with me a lot on the requirements to get into the university. They've met with us as freshmen, sophomores, and juniors to see if they meet all the requirements to get into the university. Now we talk to them, and it's very, very important this year to see any deficiencies that they could potentially have. For example, if they took Algebra 2 as a junior and now they're in trigonometry, some students are taking Algebra 2 again. It's not going to replace their D from their just junior year, but it's to prove to the colleges that they can perform at that level. They can master the math that's necessary to get into a university. We review financial assistance options for our post-secondary schools. This is huge. We are a Title I school, so our students can take advantage of a lot of financial aid, different opportunities in order to help them pay for school. We don't just talk about universities. Not all of our students are going to the university. We really emphasize it, but also we talk about community colleges, we talk about a career and the military, and we use the ECAP AZCIS through that. With the AZCIS, something that I forgot, and I want to go back real quick, there's a thing called the University College Sort. I'm really, really passionate about this. I know the other counselors are too. It's amazing. I sat down with a boy the other day, and he's like, I don't know what I want to do. I kind of want to play baseball in college, but I don't know if I can get in. I don't want to go to the East Coast because it's too cold, so I want to stay on the West Coast. So we went through, and there's a sort. You can type in the information, very, very specific information. If you have a degree that you specifically want to pursue, well, you know, I'm U of A, Wildcat diehard, but I know that ASU might have some better options for a student in a specific major. So you can sit down and pick a major. This young man... Did I say something wrong? Oh! Oh, okay. So a student, he went down and he put in the region of the West Coast. He put that it had to have a baseball for boys or for males to play, and that it was a smaller school. He didn't want to go to a large university that had over 50,000 students. We went through and it listed all these universities on the West Coast, and he's like, wow, I didn't know that there were all these schools. So there he goes into admissions. He's like, well, my grades aren't so good. So then he could see that 85% of students who apply are admitted. So he was like, okay, well, maybe these are the schools I should be looking into. And he was able to narrow it down. So this website has a ton of options. Scholarships are listed individually for students. So it's a great, great resource. Aims. You might wonder, Ames at the senior year, we're talking about getting kids ready for college. The amazing thing is you do have some students sitting in that Ames test in October, they just took it as seniors, that are ready to get into the university, but there's something that's stopping them from passing the Ames. So we do emphasize this, and we do encourage our kids, even if they haven't passed Ames, they can still get into a community college or university. We have kids in Trigg who still cannot pass Ames. So it is important for post-secondary, it is important for college readiness, just the test-taking skills. We have seniors waiting for the results in December, and they'll have one more chance in February if they're doing the reading or writing, and April for the math. So again, it is important for college readiness because it is test-taking skills. The senior exhibition, a board-approved activity at Nogales High School, I think it's a great opportunity for the kids to really seek out what it is they're interested in. A lot of our students pick a specific topic of something they might want to pursue once they graduate, and whether it's a career or a major they want to study. Some of our seniors are doing it specifically on scholarships. Just different topics, so I think that's important for college readiness as well. We have parent and class meetings. The salmon colored paper that you guys have is a calendar of events that I passed out to the seniors when we met with them at the beginning of the school year in August. We had a class meeting for just the seniors during second period, and we gave them a calendar of events, just important things for them to think about in each of the months, things that they should be remembering as they go throughout their school year, and just important information all in one sheet. We then had a parent meeting that same night, and we talked to the parents about this information, different resources available at Nogales High School, and just to keep them focused throughout the school year. The individual advising with parents and students continues as it did in the freshman, sophomore, and junior year. I've met with many, many parents and students individually to talk about their students' individual needs. So we can meet in class meetings, we can meet in the classroom, we can do all that, but sometimes it comes down to what the student needs individually and what the parents want. Some of the parents don't want their kids to leave Nogales. They want them to go to Cochise, Nogales. And so we talk about the different options. Some of them think Phoenix is too far. So we just talk about different things for their students. We talk about the financial aspect of it because some parents are afraid that they can't pay for things. So we sit down and we talk about their options and not closing doors until it's time. Some students are afraid to apply to Stanford because of the tuition. I went to a conference this year and they talked about Stanford, Harvard, Georgetown. They were all there and they talked about how 60% of their students get all of their tuition paid for. So it's a matter of getting accepted. So we have top students that can get into these universities, but they close doors before it's necessary. So we talk with them about how not to close those doors. The NCAA, we continue with the senior year. As Ms. Higuera talked about at the sophomore and junior year, they're creating their portfolio. This weekend we have a girl who's going to visit a university and she's being recruited by a school, a university. She could not be recruited legally if she wasn't registered with the NCAA. So it's very, very important for our student athletes to understand the importance of registering with the NCAA. ACT and SAT. We continue to have the students take this at their senior year and also at the end of their junior year. They are eligible for a fee waiver if they are on free and reduced lunch. So we encourage all of our kids to turn in their lunch applications to see if they are eligible for these fee waivers. Our students can take the test as many times as they want with these fee waivers, and it just helps them so that they don't have to not test because of the financial burden. They are also eligible for college application fee waivers with this SAT and ACT fee waivers. They're $50 for each in-state university, so some of our students have already benefited from $150 in fee waivers just for the in-state. They are also eligible for up to 8 out-of-state fee waivers. Some of the events that we do throughout the school year as a guidance department with the support of our administration and teachers, the first thing we did in September was a college visitation. Unfortunately, not all universities and community colleges can come to this. They have to be members of the Arizona School Counselors Association. It's something that takes place across the state of Arizona. So U of A, NAU, ASU had representatives come, some schools from Utah and New Mexico, and we invited our seniors as well as our juniors to come and talk to universities with their parents and just see the different requirements across the board, what it is. Some of the kids took their transcripts. Will I get accepted to your school? And the reps were able to talk to them individually. We also invite previous Gates and Dorrance scholars to come back and talk to our students. It's one thing to hear the information from me. I'm 29 and I'm an old lady to them. And so they're like, you don't know, that was a long time ago when you applied for scholarships. So we have students come back who just received Gates 2 years ago, last year, Dorrance just last year. They come in and they talk to our students about ways to improve their applications, to make sure they're not missing any vital information. So having those students come back and talk to them, they can relate to them a little bit better than old Miss Hatfield could. We also, once students get to a scholarship level where they're a finalist, sometimes they have to do an interview in order to receive the scholarship. For example, the Dorrance Scholarship. Whenever we find out about this, we create mock interviews with those students so that they're prepared when they go into that scholarship interview with a committee. It's very nerve-wracking for a senior in high school to sit across from 3 people and answer questions. And they even say it to us, they're like, "You're drilling me." And I'm like, that's going to happen in the interview as well. So we sit down as a team and we have teachers or administrators or some of the counselors go in and just ask them questions so that they're prepared. We have visits from the universities and community colleges. It's great because right now we have a really strong presence from the U of A. Go Wildcats. But Marcos, our representative from the U of A, he is so passionate about kids getting into college. It's not just about going to the U of A. He understands that it's not a perfect fit for every single one of our students to go to the U of A. But he talks to them about what is important to get into a university. He encourages them, as he stands there with them, to apply for the U of A, but also to apply for ASU, NAU, and out-of-state universities. So they can go in and they can have very, very real conversations with a rep from one of our universities. He has also been very great about bringing former students of ours back and talking about their experiences and what it's like to live on campus versus off campus, getting a job on campus versus off campus. And it's just really great because they can connect so well to those students. We have a FAFSA workshop. That's the free application for federal student aid. Again, it's just a benefit for being a Title I school. A lot of our students are eligible for this money. It's free money. And parents tell me all the time, I can't even afford lunches for my kids. How am I going to pay for college? And so we talk about this. We sit down and talk about this. This is something that we emphasize in the spring semester because they can't do it until they file their taxes for this year. College Awareness Week. This is something that the guidance department is passionate about, along with the administration, just making sure that kids know about the different options out there. We gave you guys all a button. This is something that's been implemented since Gear Up was a part of Nogales High School. I remember as an English teacher, I talked to my students about this, and it's, again, many of us standing up here went to the University of Arizona, but we each had a very different experience there. Just for you, Dr. Barona, got to keep rubbing it in. We each had a very different experience. We all got there in a very, very different way. Some of us had tuition waivers. Some of us had it paid for by financial aid. Some of us had student loans. Each person had a very, very different experience there. So we encourage our teachers to wear these buttons and to talk about their experience at their school. They also have banners hanging in their classroom from their specific university that they attended. And it's just another way to get kids to realize, like, there are other options out there than maybe U of A or ASU. There's many options for students. This year we plan on, during our College Awareness Week, bringing in guest speakers to talk to the kids. We want to do a college fair that's not specific to the members of the Arizona School Counselors Association. We would also like to talk about technical schools and trade schools and vocational schools for our students, just so they know all of their options that are out there. Our scholarship wall, that's a picture of it. It's famous at Nogales High School. It is a great condensed version of all the scholarships that are available to students. As soon as we get them, we post them for the students. In that tiny little box, it says the criteria for receiving that scholarship, the deadline, and where they can go. In a box next to that wall is a little paper that they can take, and they can take it home with them, and then they can go home and apply for each scholarship. Like I tell the students, if you meet the requirements, take it. Apply for as many scholarships as you possibly can. This year, something that I'm incredibly proud of is a new club that we started at Nogales High School. We call it a club because we meet every other week. It started because of a student coming to me, Hazel Restra. She's a senior at Nogales High School, and she says, a lot of the students don't know how to apply for scholarships. They have a lot of questions. Can you help me start a club? So her and I now meet every other Thursday, sometimes every Thursday, depending on the need, in a computer lab on campus. We meet from 2 to 3, so it's during tutoring time. They can take the bus afterward if they need to. And it's just a set time for students to sit there and apply. They have questions. Ms. Hatfield, what's my class rank? What is unweighted versus weighted GPA? They just, very simple questions that get them stumped when they're sitting at home alone. So we go in there and we sit and we talk about things. She has given them so many different websites to go into. She's very proactive about it as well and passionate about helping the other students. I edit personal statements for the students. We talk about how they can be smart. Use this personal statement for a scholarship as well as universities. Use it as much as you possibly can. So this is something that we're really excited about at the high school, the new scholarship club. Scholarship recipients. Last year, $784,000 was awarded to our students. That's all merit, private, the foundation, as well as 2 of our GATE scholars. Individually, through the Nogales Educational Foundation, we awarded $63,500 in scholarships, and that was 63 different scholarships. So we're really passionate about what we do at the high school, and we're very excited. We think we do a lot with the kids, and every year we're trying to implement more and more. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Hatfield. Something that we want to talk about is that our special education department was way ahead of the game, like with mandating post-secondary goals for all our students in special ed. Now we're seeing that shift in the paradigm with the ECAP and the new requirements on ECAP, and making every single student do a 4-year plan. Something that in special ed, it's been mandated, as I said, we have to start working with students when they're 14 years old, if appropriate, or once they're 16 by law. So something that we do at Nogales High School is we start working on their transition, and it's called transition. It's indicator 13, but it's called transition, and it's transition from high school to adulthood, transition from high school to post-secondary education. So basically, in special ed, we work with the students, and we help them become independent. Anything that has to do with independent living, getting a bank account, anything that the student will be able to do once they graduate from high school. So just like I said, this is something that we've been working for years, not at Nogales High School, but it's a law, it's a requirement. It's a requirement, but I will have Ms. Higuera talk a little bit more about this wall and also the financial aid assistance at our special ed classrooms. Something like this you can find in any special ed classrooms, and it's basically information on any college, any university, trade schools, junior colleges, as well as any information on financial aid.
Thank you. We are proud to say that Nogales High School has a very strong unified special education department. They all communicate well, they work well with us. We're always on the same page regarding the education of our students, regarding what IEP requirements need to be in place. Ms. Montaño is doing a great job leading the special education department towards the right direction. As Ms. Jimenez mentioned, every class, even though they have a disability, they focus on post-secondary options. I mean, there's no limits to them either. Okay, we have had kids go straight to the U of A. Okay, we have had kids go straight to Job Corps, PIMA. Possibilities are endless. We even have a former student of Ms. Jimenez right now working in Washington, D.C. with Congressman Grijalva. So we don't stop just because they have a disability. And so it's a mandate again through special education, but also programs that Dr. Ratney and Ms. Jimenez have put in place at Nogales High School is having a transition coordinator. This is Ms. Reyes. What she does is she plans activities, coordinates with the special education teachers on getting our students out into the community, volunteering, preparing for the workforce, okay, applying for outside agencies like Department of Developmental Disabilities, WIA, any resources that we have in our community. They also put together a curriculum guide, a study skills curriculum guide, where they focus on all aspects of transition that are required. First, as a mandate by the state to be in compliance, that's where Dr. Ratney makes sure that we're in compliance with the state, but also meeting the students' needs. Okay, making sure that we're reaching that student's goals. Okay, and making them realistic. Okay, that's something that they can reach. Also this year, again, we're coordinating with Dr. Ani to put together a transition fair. A transition fair is basically, it's not a job fair, it's more of resources within the community that our students can benefit from, like WIA, vocational rehabilitation, programs like that can assist them upon graduation or exiting high school. Social Security, all those, bringing in bank managers, tellers, so that students know that they need to open a bank account, things like that.
Also, the Skills Club is something that we have in place at Nogales High School, and actually I'm proud to say Ms. Jimenez started it 12 years ago when she was a special education teacher. The Skills Club stands for Successful Kids Improving Lifelong Skills. So what she did in this club is we have all these requirements that we need to meet at developing their IEPs, but how do we do them? Because these kids, need a lot of guidance. So she created this club where she integrated the special education population with activities on campus with the mainstream population. She also had a store where she taught the kids inventory, money skills, life skills, social skills. And again, with all the fundraising, she basically took them around the world. They went to New York, Disneyland, Grand Canyon. So she did a lot of great, she put a lot of, her envision got in place, and it's still followed at Nogales High School through this club that's still going strong. Also, Nogales High School, we work closely with the Transition from School to Work program, which is actually located at Pearson Vocational High School. But the name says it all. We work together in helping our kids transition from school to work with whatever it might be. College, universities, job placement, whatever it is that they might need. And we also, encourage them to apply for vocational rehabilitation, which is another program as an outside agency that helps them achieve their goals. So now we want to provide you with some pictures because this is some of our CTE courses, because even though we're focusing on college, every student is not college bound ready, or they're not going to go to college. So and so we try to focus them in the direction of either of any of our career technical education classes we have on campus. We have very, very good programs. We have our Intro to Business, our auto mechanics, the graphic design. There's endless programs, just to name a few. So we encourage our kids to take that route as well. So we want to just show you our resource center at Nogales High School. It's in our guidance office, and here we provide all the information like the one we provided in your packets on any pamphlets, any universities. When universities will be coming down, we have information up there available for our students so that they can sign up and be able to talk to any representatives or the military, whoever they might be interested in seeing. Also at the top, you see the flags that the program that Gear Up established 8 years ago, where everybody talks about college, ask about college, like our pins, and everybody on campus has the flag of the university they attended or are studying or whatever represents them. Okay. Also here is, we just want to show you some of our activities. Here is a representative from the U of A that came down last month. Sorry, Dr. Verona, ASU hasn't contacted us when he wants to come down, so we only have U of A right now. But he'll be here, yeah. He's actually, it's weird that he hasn't come down. Here's a picture of our students at work at the scholarship club. That's in the after-school activity. They're all applying for scholarships and doing what they need to do to get the stuff done. Also, in an effort to continue providing parents and students with information, we created a Facebook page. Okay, it's Nogales Apache's Counseling Department, so we encourage you to like us. Here we provide endless information on scholarship, any due dates, any important dates our students need to remember, any testings, when ACT will be happening, ACTs, remind them to come in for waivers, when our reps will be on campus. So we publish a lot of information through Facebook, so in an effort to continue informing our parents of what is going on campus. Okay, and I would like to take this time before we close, let you guys know that, it's without our guidance and our leadership from our administration, a lot of these activities could not happen. We don't know everything, we don't know all the mandates, all the laws, so we rely a lot on our administration. And Ms. Jimenez, along with Ms. Bonillas and Mr. Miranda, are doing a great job in leading us in the right direction, or always supporting us. When we have issues with kids, when kids are being disrespectful or anything like that, it's easy phone call. They're here to help, always offering their guidance, and they offer amazing support, and as well I am proud to be under their leadership at Nogales High School.
So right now, I would like to, this is the end of our presentation. I would like to thank you, and now you may ask us about college.
Charlotte, do you have any comments or questions?
It was a great presentation, great presentation.
Awesome.
I know that it's difficult to get students that are, that parents make almost all their decisions, so it's real hard to get them out of that shell so that they can make the decisions that they need to make on their own. I've heard complaints from parents in the past saying that that Nogales High School doesn't help their students get into college, doesn't give them guidance, but a lot of it comes down to whether or not that child is allowed by their parent to make decisions, and teaching them to be critical thinkers is something that's happening every day for them. I know that they're getting that support from the teachers and from the administrators in our education system. I just hope that we can continue doing that, and that we continue stressing to children and students that are thinking about going to college that it's a hard step. I have a daughter right now that's just started her first year in college, and she's having a very hard time because she's not used to making decisions on her own. She doesn't know how to go about asking the right people, asking the right questions, not being afraid to go and just put herself out there. We're trying to teach her how to do that, but it's a difficult process when they're not used to it. It's a very difficult process. So I know that it's a combination of parents helping their children to be able to become independent, as well as we as administrators and guidance counselors and instructors and teachers helping them also to know that the worst thing that can happen to you when you ask a question is that you're in the same place you were before. All you have to do is ask, and you either get an answer, and if not the answer that you like, then you ask someone else until you get the answer that you're looking for. But I want to thank you. Your presentation was very, very complete.
I don't know if Dr. Barona was the one that left me this in his will. We're a test center. We provide ACT and SAT at Nogales High School. We cater to Patagonia, Rio Rico, Sahuarita, Tucson High sometimes. We just about 2 months ago had a student from New York. She came to a wedding in Tubac, so she tested here. We get students from Ciudad Obregón, a lot from Hermosillo. So I'm very proud that we have a test center. Not every school has that. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Frank, any comments or questions? Marcy?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, Principal Jimenez, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very enlightening, and I think the community can become aware of the various powerful services that you offer to make students successful. Mrs. Castillo, I didn't realize that you have those ACT tests, the pre-ACT test or the SAT with the Explore test starting at the 9th grade now, huh? Before it was just at the sophomore level. That's very good. I'm glad you're taking that step forward to prepare those kids so that by the time they become their juniors and they have to take it or they retake it, they've had plenty of practice time with it. And also, Principal Jimenez, to your representative from the University of Arizona, why is it that that you can only bring down schools for visitations that are a member of the Arizona Counselors Association?
For that specific college visitation, it's for that they actually organize a tour around the state of Arizona, and we're given a specific night. So that's why we're trying as a school to actually have a college visit that's not just for that specific organization.
Okay.
And so the Arizona School Counselors Association creates this college tour around the state of Arizona, and they have visits at specific schools, and they actually organize for all the representatives to come. We send out an invite and we feed them dinner and stuff, but it's specific to that organization.
Okay, because it looks to me like Mr. Moran is saying it like more like a money-making project for the state organization.
It's not a money-making, it's just they pay a fee to come down and represent their schools. So if they're not part of the consortium, they can't.
Well, that's what I mean. got to pay the fee, where when you bring them down, they don't have to pay for the fee,
Correct.
just
When
their
they come,
setup.
so we do individual university visits. That one's specific to a night where parents and students are invited. But then when like the rep you saw from the U of A came this year, already he comes down on his own. It has nothing to do with the Arizona School Counselors Association. We have a lot of the technical schools go in and meet directly with the CT program or English classes, wherever they can go in and meet with students.
Well, I think that's a wonderful program that you're doing, and hopefully one of these days you guys can all combine it with all of the high schools, because we're not that many high schools in Santa Cruz County, and have one big thing for all the students to attend.
We invite Patagonia, Rio Rico, and Pearson, and New Orleans, and the Sacred Heart to come to our event.
These programs, because sometimes I get some concerns, but this is well explained, and I'm glad you did it in front of the public, and I thank Mr. Nash for requesting this. It's wonderful information. That there's a lot of things in here that I wasn't even aware of that are existing now. So, Principal Jimenez, my compliments to you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. I asked for this to be presented, and I tell you, I'm very enthusiastic about your presentation. Thank you very much. I now feel really, really good about our kids and their chances to go and get a post-secondary education. I just wish Ms. Montiel was here, and I wish the elementary school principals were here, because one of my tenets in life I learned is you never get in life what you want, you only get in life what you expect, because whatever you expect to come true, you then put the effort together. And I feel that if we can get this type of thinking in elementary school, where the principals and the teachers prepare their kids to go to college, they'll always think that. And in a town as such where many people have never gone to college, they're not going to get that expectation at home, and therefore it is up to us in the education system to bring up that expectation. And I believe, my father was a professor of education at the University of Arizona, taught many of the students, many of the teachers and administrators here in this community. And from the womb, I knew I was going to college. There was never ever a question. My kids always knew they were going to go to college before they were conceived, and it's that expectation. So the sooner we get that into our community, the better success we'll have in getting kids to college, and then they can come back and make Nogales a better community. The other thing is, most reasons I think why a kid doesn't go to college because they don't think they have the money. And Amanda, I love the way you address that. Just fill it out. You'll find the money. The money's out there. The money is out there, and I was glad to hear that. So I am ecstatic about your presentation. Judith, thank you very much. And I can sleep at night regarding that. I want our kids to go to college. I don't care. Even if they all go to ASU, that's fine. That's fine. That's great. I just want them to go to college. Thank you very much. The next item B, the grants presentation. Kathy, before you get up, I think that was requested by Mr. Arana.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of town on business. Just like I would have been very disappointed if I hadn't have seen this presentation. I have a feeling that Hector would very much want to see yours, so I wonder if it would be okay if we tabled it till the next.
It will be, there's just one little thing I have to talk about.
Okay,
I
thank
will
you.
table the whole PowerPoint.
Okay.
It was Mr. Arana that wanted this. You have a lot of information in your packet. I will postpone the actual PowerPoint, but there's one item on the PowerPoint that I need to show you. If we can, somebody took the clicker. Okay, just one. There, that's the only one I need to show. Okay. About 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, Mr. Zimmerman and I were invited to Alfredo's office to talk about the Helios STEM grant, which will bring $500,000 to the community over 3 years. And when they went to apply, they found out that as county school superintendent cannot. It must be a district. So at this meeting, Mr. Zimmerman said that Kathy will do it. So we have a 25-page report. I have it written, it's done. Dr. Verona has a copy. We had to get something called a design team up and running in 3 days. I have 14 members, including members of the business world, Alex Corey, Danny Zuniga, Dina Sanchez, some other people around. And I just needed to talk about this now because I'm going to submit it Monday of next week. And we included Rio Rico and Patagonia in this. Basically, the money will purchase what's called a clicker system for the elementary schools. If you don't know what that is, each kid has a little game modular in their hand, and believe me, these kids are really good at this. We teachers are sitting there looking like this, and they're going, you know, because it's like a video game type of thing. And let's say the teacher has on the board, what's 12 times 7? And they have A, B, C, D. The kid answers A, B, C, D, and immediately the teacher can tell what percentage of the class knows it, knows which kid missed it, and it's a really valuable system to have. We have some other hardware in there, and we also have something that this district needs desperately because STEM is coming. We have in there partial funding for a position for a STEM coordinator.
Good.
Everybody here that I'm looking at, my colleagues, is doing 150%, and to take on another thing like this, to do it well, you've got to have a master teacher that understands science, technology, engineering, and math. But I will postpone my presentation, but since I'm submitting this Monday, I wanted you to see that. And I think Dr. Verona has taken a big role in this too. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm sorry about that, but I know Hector would appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sorry, one other thing. Because there's this, okay. I'm sorry because there's some misinformation about this. When this meeting is over, many of us are leaving for Scottsdale for the mega conference. It is 9:40 is our presentation. The state asked us to present, and we're going to present at mega, and most of Nogales is going there too. So we'll see you there.
Is that the one you're going to? Scottsdale?
Great.
Continue on. See,
Next item.
not the provision two?
It's provision 2. So-
Go ahead, next item.
Okay, next item is a provision 2 update. As Carla makes her way up to the podium, this is about, last spring, we brought this before the governing board. It's a food service provision, an opportunity for students to be able to get free lunch across the board and also save us some money. So we thought it would be good. Here we are almost midway through this year and give you an update to see if it has been beneficial.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Zimmerman. As promised, we are going to give you a Provision 2 update as far as how we're doing with this program. With me here is Eduardo Bañuelos. He's a food service program director, and he has made a lot of contributions to the success that we're having with the Provision 2 program here at NUSD. In March of 2012, we requested permission from the governing board to authorize the application for the Provision 2 process. At that time, we explained that Provision 2 was an alternative meal counting and claiming options that's been approved by the USDA, and it provides meals to students at no charge. It reduces paperwork. Free and reduced applications are not collected beyond the base year, so this would be considered our base year. It also simplifies meal counting at the point of sale and claiming procedures, so there is no money exchange for reimbursable meals at all levels. The suggested baseline is 85% free and reduced. Our schools range between 65% and 95% for free and reduced students in their population. 95% being Wade Carpenter. So that's good to mention that. Again, the requirements again would be to obtain the state agency approval that we've done. We selected the meal service, breakfast and or lunch, and we chose both. And we are operating the child nutrition program as usual during this base year. And again, this is done to establish claiming percentages based on the number of children that participate during the base year. I did include in your packets very detailed information on a school-by-school basis, so you can see the levels of participation at each one and how much revenue they are bringing into this program. Again, part of the requirements, unfortunately, is to receive a CRE, which is an audit or a modified CRE, and we have not been notified, I don't believe. Not yet? Okay. Again, we, as the governing board authorized, we serve meals at no cost to all our children during the first year. And we claim the meals for the 3 years based on the participation during the base year. So this year is critical to make sure that the participation levels are high. So back in 2011, 2012, the district had never participated in Provision 2. However, we did offer a universal free breakfast program for several years at all our schools. So we were already subsidizing the free breakfast program. 90% of the breakfasts that were being served were for free and reduced students, and 89% of the lunches were for free and reduced. The federal reimbursement in 2011 was $2,174,000. $1,000. And the federal reimbursement last year was close to $2.3 million. So how did we decide if Provision 2 was right for our district? We did a trial run, again with permission from the governing board. We offer free meals to students during the week of Ames testing to use as the baseline data. And that data was used to forecast participation and the financial impact on a school-by-school and district-wide basis. And at that time, we thought the Provision 2 option would be financially feasible. And again, thanks to the governing board, we got the go-ahead to continue this. This is also referred to as a non-pricing meal service. That's one of the requirements. Okay, how are we doing now? We continue to receive support from the governing board, from principals, teachers, families, students, and staff to promote participation. The breakfast in the classroom at elementary schools has been a huge success. And I don't know, did you want to say something about it, Mr. Vangelis?
Good afternoon. Breakfast in the classroom was like overwhelming. I couldn't believe the triples and the quadruples of participation just in the elementary level. We have a certain couple schools that are, we got 100% of these kids eating. Every single one of these kids are eating breakfast at, I think it was Lincoln. So it's been a very huge success. We're trying to keep them not, motivated eating breakfast. We're trying to get new ideas always. We're always doing a food shows, trying to find something. We don't want to get in a routine that's just going to be cold cereal or the super donut all the time, even though they love super donuts here.
Super donut.
Yeah, but I know that, like I said, they came up with the chocolate super donut. So that's something new, but we're trying for new ideas. We don't want the kids to get tired of eating breakfast, so.
We continue to collect applications from all students. We still have 316 that have not been collected as of last Friday. We continue to take advantage of any bonus commodities, free food, from the federal government. And we continue to offer foods to children while raising wellness and nutrition awareness. And actually, that is a component of the meal service program. The new meal pattern requirements caused some concerns at the beginning of this school district. Again, again, this is not something we decided, but this is, comes from the USDA, and we have to conform to these new requirements. And unfortunately, the new meal requirements are smaller portion sizes, especially at the upper grade level. So what I was hearing, well, you're giving out free meals, but you're giving us less food, and that wasn't our doing, it was a requirement. Once we are in full compliance with the meal pattern program, we will be able to recoup about 6 cents per meal, right, Mr. Banuelos? Right. 6 cents per meal that's served to our children. So this year, we implemented it at the lunch, in the lunch program, and next year we're starting the breakfast. So again, we didn't have to start it right away, but we want to make sure that we're in full compliance and we're already, ahead of the game with this new requirement. The year-to-date reimbursement for breakfast is up $59,000. And what's very meaningful is that the increased participation is 42% district-wide. The highest school of level of participation is Coronado at 93%. For year-to-date reimbursement for lunch, we're up by $32,000, and then again, it represents an 8% increase as compared to last year. The highest is 19% in an individual school, that being at Nogales High School and at Bracker. So our overall revenues have increased by about $92,000. My projected revenue increase over last year will be about $300,000 at this point with the data that we have available now. However, we're offering and serving more food, and that means expenses also go up. And what's important to note here that higher expenses are not necessarily a bad thing. As has been noted, our classroom dollar report shows that our meal service program costs are high, but because our participation levels are high. So again, the expenditures are going to increase along with it. So my projection is about $200,000. So our net gain right now, the average is about $11,000 per month. And again, we're not collecting monies from any student, free or paid students. And again, we're able to cover the cost of their meals. So I think the program so far is working well. And we had a good fund balance at the end of last year. We had about $200,000 there. So that is our safety net to continue, working with the program. The benefits as well is that the stigma of poverty associated with our program, our food service programs, goes away. Again, increased participation at Nogales High School, breakfast and lunch, is up. And hopefully we can see it go up more. At Nogales High School, I was looking at the numbers, and the paid students are really the ones that are taking advantage of the program. We have a 58% increase in breakfast participation from paid students, and then from lunch, click the page here, the lunch participation increase for paid students in Nogales High School is 97%. So we've doubled the number of paid kids that are eating. So, and again, the increased reimbursement is really to help sustain the food service program, make it financially stable, and continue to offer free meals to all students. Again, we appreciate the decreased paperwork, not as of yet, but down the road, we won't have to collect applications. And again, we should focus what's important, which is feeding the kids. So, do you have anything else to add, Mr. Reyes? Are there any questions?
Any questions, comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Soto, why is it that on the breakfast, especially at the elementary schools, the breakfast is running real strong, but the middle school, Carpenter was down 10%, and on the lunch programs, Mitchell was down another 10%?
And I don't have an easy answer for that. The increase in breakfast is because the breakfast in the classroom program is only at the elementary level. I'm not sure how we could pull that off at the middle school and high school, but if we could, then our reimbursement would be higher. But the decrease, I don't know, Mr. Banuelos, do you have any?
The decrease, we see it fluctuate monthly. Still trying to understand. Usually after December is when we notice the numbers actually start increasing. Is after December. Up in the middle schools and high schools. Like the high school, I expected. We're serving a little over like 1,000 kids right now. High schools, I can see about 1,200 kids after Christmas. Don't know why. It's just a fluctuation of students.
And what about the lunch program? Why is the lunch at Mitchell School down 10%? Mitchell School.
At Mitchell School, I mean, we added extra cashiers trying to get the students through faster. I mean, we're doing everything we can to increase it. Sometimes the kids just don't want to eat. We still see students bringing their lunch. I mean, like I said, just like breakfast, we're looking for new ideas. New foods are always coming out. There's a big, like the mega conference, there's a big mega food show in February 2nd in Phoenix. That's when all those new regulations, all this new stuff comes out. But a lot of companies right now, they're not on board with this new regulations of like the smaller portions. We can't use that much grain, that much breading. They are finally now on board, so we're going to go back to like the chicken nuggets and all that, all the stuff that kids really like to increase their participation.
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Soto, but overall, it looks like the program is successful because the bottom line financially is you're doing well in the thousands of dollars. We're not in the red on this.
We're not losing, we're actually gaining an extra $11,000 per month as compared to last year. Again, the other factor, and again, I didn't do the detailed research by school as far as why kids are not participating, but another factor could be the decreased enrollment at that site, which I believe may be the case at Mitchell. I'm not sure about Carpenter. I don't know their enrollment numbers off the top of my head, but we can certainly come back with you with that information.
Maybe, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Soto, maybe when you prepare the next report, Mr. Bananas, you could prepare a narrative with it, if there's anything in the negative like that, or the positive, a narrative, so we can read it before and see.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would like to make a comment. I think that this program will, over time, actually become more and more positive for the students. It does, as you say, remove the stigma so that students aren't ashamed to go up and get a free lunch, because those kids that weren't part of the program before don't like to bring their lunch from home or don't have a parent making a lunch for them will continue to participate. I noticed at the high school especially, if you have such a huge increase in paid students participating, it's because they're like, okay, if it's free, then I should eat it. So I see future success with this program and a continued growing success. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6, consent agenda. Approval of routine warrants, purchase orders, travel claims, employee leave, and transfer requests and employee resignations. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed as a regular agenda item upon the request of any board member. A, approval of October 15, 2012 regular board meeting minutes. B, ratification of payroll expense vouchers. C, ratification of student activities, auxiliary functions, operations vouchers. D, adoption resolution recognition of booster organizations. E, approval acceptance of donation from Arizona Diamondbacks, $5,000 to cover the cost associated with the Think College program. F, approval of U of A research study profiles of working memory and learning for educational research for a second year. G, personnel agenda summary.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to have a discussion on item D and item F.
Okay. So I'll entertain a second to approve consent agenda minus items D and F.
I make a motion to to approve all consent agenda items with the exclusion of D and F for discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item D, adoption resolution recognition of booster organizations.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the adoption resolution recognition of booster organizations. as presented and recommended.
Your second?
I second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Superintendent Zimmerman, on these, getting back to this original, just two questions here. There's still a lot of these organizations that I see are still missing a tax ID, and yet we're passing this resolution. When do they get their tax ID so parents have something to go ahead and say, well, this is, I can take a tax deduction, this is their tax ID for that? And my second question, Mr. Zimmerman, is I noticed that some of the major, like, I don't see the football organizations or the major sports organizations in here. Are they going to participate in this also?
I'll go ahead and defer that to Carla.
Okay, Dr. Varona, to answer your first question, we do not require the booster organizations to have a tax ID number. We can only strongly encourage them to have one. That way, any contributions made to them as a nonprofit, would be considered charitable contributions. The second answer to your question regarding the participation from booster organizations, again, we had 2 training sessions and a makeup session. We invited all the groups to participate. And again, we've made contact with those that hadn't submitted paperwork, and at this point, they're not anticipating, moving forward as an organization. So this is the last that we had. And again, my goal is that these would be the only ones that would be authorized to fundraise on behalf of our school district or for our school district, or the only ones that would be recognized by the governing board. And again, we intend to put this on our website so community members would know which would be the valid organizations that we recognize to raise funds for our programs.
No, I just want to add that the booster organization for football has already been approved. We put it in on the first time that we brought this to the board. And other I don't recall by name which ones we approved already, but there's cheerleading and dancers that had been approved already.
So,
If they're not in the list, I don't have the list.
So then Superintendent Zimmerman, Mrs. Soto, then you're going to have another resolution for the rest of these organizations?
No, this is the second round of organizations that are being approved. We already approved another couple of months ago.
Right.
And those would be in addition to these that have already been approved.
But if there's more organizations to come by, then you'll have another round of resolutions for those organizations?
Only if they've met our
Requirement.
requirements.
Okay.
Yes, and a part of the requirement was to attend training and comply with all the requirements. Here, again, the tax ID is strongly encouraged, but not a requirement.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item F.
Mr. Chairman, I make
Entertain
a
a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the request for the University of Arizona to conduct their research study with elementary school students for a second year.
I second.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Zimmer, could we have a brief overview from Dr. Utney on this?
He's making his way to the podium.
Mr. Zimmerman, board members, Dr. Verona, you've got this summary here. I've talked to the university people a year ago, talked to them again for just a little bit last year, but I really have nothing to add from what you have here in the presentation. They don't have any results from the first year of the study. So other than the language components, I don't have anything further to add than what we've got here in the summary that they provided us.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Utney, no, I understand that. I read the summary, but I would like for the public to know, besides me and
Oh,
your
I'm
confidential
sorry.
deal, I'd like for the public to know what's going on with this also, though,
Okay.
too.
Specific aims of the study, reading here from the University of Arizona. Principal investigator is Dr. Mary Alt, working in conjunction with the National Institutes of Health, National Institute of Deafness, and other communication disorders. Specific aims of the study: word knowledge is critical to speaking, reading, and writing, yet a substantial proportion of children with language impairment demonstrate poor word learning. To develop effective interventions, we require a clear understanding of all deficits underlying poor word learning. The hypothesis is that word learning success depends on the contribution and interaction of all working memory components, and that word learning variability is directly related to a child's working memory. So what they'll do is work with, there's a 5-page parent permission that would be granted here. All the work would be done in the parent's home. None of it is done at the school. If this is approved this evening, I'll go back and work with the university. They've got an agreement that we would sign. Then they would contact the university would contact the 6 elementary principals. They'd work out something, the information would go home to parents. Parents would sign up with them if they should like.
Superintendent Zimmerman, Dr. Andy, last year, did everything go fine? You didn't hear any complaints from any parent or student or administrator?
No complaints,
Okay.
no problems. 17 students participated.
I think this is a very integral program that I concur with, but I just wanted to make sure there were no complaints last year also.
None that I'm aware of. And when I spoke to the principal investigator directly, didn't offer anything or hints or no problems noted.
Are we expecting any findings anytime soon? It's been 1 year, and
I don't know the length of the study, but I'll have that information for you.
okay.
Well, sometimes if it's a longitudinal study, it'll take a
Right,
long time to
longitudinal
get the
study,
result.
right.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 So voted.
Passes. Item 7, action item, approval of resolution to issue request for proposal for employee benefits.
I'm going to go ahead and
We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make them, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to go ahead and accept the recommendation to accept the request for RFPs for our health insurance.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion.
Well, no, I do have discussion. Did you want to say something, Superintendent? Sure.
I just wanted to, I think for the good of the public, I wanted to read the background information. As you know, we're going out for 3 RFPs. We've already talked about the technology. We are going to now move forward on the health insurance RFP, and down the road here shortly will be the renewal and going out for an RFP for food services. So we have really the 3 big ones hitting us right now. But just so I could read this for the good of the group and the folks watching out there at home. The Nogales Unified School District is requesting proposals for the employee benefits for Nogales Unified District 1. The provision under ARS 15-213 does not require school districts to procure services for the pooled health insurance services. However, the district governing board has determined that the request for proposals would be beneficial to the school district in order to obtain quality employee benefit services at competitive pricing. The M.W. Bagnall Company, the employees benefits consulting firm, will be contracted to oversee and assist with the RFP and review the process for the employee benefits. I've had a meeting, at least with Nydia, who oversees the procurement for the district. I want the governing board to know that I will personally be overseeing this particular RFP. It will not be Mrs. Soto or anyone else, but we will involve folks that meet on a monthly basis, I think, Nydia, for the insurance committee. We'll take a few of those folks. We won't take all of them because it's a pretty big committee, but as I have stood firm on all RFPs, we want to do what is in the best interest of our employees. We want to make sure that we are doing it within the budget and making sure that everything is done above board. One thing that I don't like to deal with are bid protests, and I've lived that before, and it's a nasty situation. So these health insurance, for some reason, always becomes interesting. I'll use that word. So I will be overseeing the process for that. Nydia has put together a timeline that I looked at and agree with. Obviously, we want to get this done as soon as possible. February would be the best because we have to notify our employees if we do end up making a change. It requires really educating the staff members, and this starts on July 1, so we need to move quickly because we lose a lot of folks at the end of May. So it seems like we're moving fast, but we sort of have to.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Zimmerman, I'm glad that you're going to oversee this personally. I think this is a critical issue, especially if we want to go ahead and consider salary increases for our employees, because this takes a big bite out of our budget, and we need it to be competitive and make sure that we make a good decision on this, especially now with the 1% sales tax to expire in May, and we're going to be losing revenues. We need to have as many cost savings that we have toward our district, so to be able to have something in the budget to be presented to us by Mrs. Soto where we can look at rewarding our employees, all of our employees, with some kind of financial increase in that. So I think this issue, because this takes a big bite out of our budget, is crucial that we get competitive bids. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
I have a question. Are you going to be, are you limiting your bid process to specific health insurance companies, or is it open to all, and you're expecting, how many bids do you think you'll get?
Well, I don't know how many I'm expecting, but in the past, having gone through this, I expect about 5. And I know we have a representative from Bagnell who could, maybe he knows, he probably, this is his job, so why don't you come on up to the podium. And what are we are looking for pretty much what we currently have in place, and that includes, which I will be very clear about, is also that we have a very comprehensive wellness program, and we're just hoping apples to apples. We'll put everything together, and everybody will put their proposals together. So obviously we're, as Dr. Verona mentioned, we're trying to get the best bang for our buck.
Mr. President, members of the board, and Mr. Zimmerman, members of the public, to address your question, there's, while we work with many different vendors across the state, across the country, the proposal really calls for really doing a comprehensive search in order to obviously meet the objectives of the board and the district in regards to cost effectiveness. And so with that, there are many traditional vendors as well as many third-party administrators. Our list is fairly comprehensive, and we have extended it to the district procurement for their consideration, along with their suggestions of other vendors that they are aware of, as well as posting it to the public. So I imagine many vendors will be able to view and consider their participation into issuing a proposal. However, at the end of the day, I imagine 5 is probably a pretty accurate number based on timing and possibly the scope of the work involved.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Zimmerman. I forgot your name.
Sorry, Adam Walter.
Mr. Walter. Are we at a good time frame that our superintendent indicates that we're starting early, but because we need a big list? Is this early enough or to do what we need to do?
I'd say you're fine from a timing perspective. I think with the timeline, the way it's set out, well, it's kind of a good time, if you will, in that kind of get ahead of the crush that'll come kind of around March timeframe. So we'll get full consideration, and we'll have the resources of the vendors that are going to be participating. We'll have their full attention. So it's a pretty optimal time.
Superintendent Zimmerman, so Mr. Walter's company, they're going to serve as a consultant for you to make a recommendation to this board? Is that how I see this?
I believe that the consulting firm is to make sure that everything is done right. In terms of the selection, that will be, if that is what you're asking, I'm
Yes.
assuming that is what you were asking, will be done by our committee. I don't know what is done in the past, but it will not be their company's business to tell us who we're selecting. We want to make sure that everything is done right, that we are following the procurement, everything correctly. But when it comes down to the proposals and what, as we sit there and we score that out, that will be done with the committee that we do not totally have in place yet, but we have a very good idea what that will look like. And the health committee, we believe, since they represent one from every school, and they're the ones that will go back and loop out and explain whatever we're doing, whatever we end up deciding. We thought it would be good to involve as many of the employees as possible. My job is sort of going to be like your job too, which is basically I want to make sure it's being done right and making sure that that anything that goes out, that everybody gets a copy of what goes out. So there's no one that has an unfair advantage in this process.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Superintendent Zimmerman, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear with the process with Mr. Walters. Is Mr. Walters going to serve as, I know that he's supposed to make sure that everything is done for the RFPs to make sure everything gets a fair treatment. I concur with you with that. But is there going to be somebody, as an example of Mr. Walters, who's going to help you guys make a decision and compare and contrast one bid to another? Or do you feel that your staff has enough expertise
I think
in
I
this
have
health
enough
field?
expertise to do it. I've been through this more than I care to admit, but I feel very comfortable in. If I have a question, I'm going to ask them. But I think that I feel this is why I'm taking the lead on this.
Okay.
Is because I feel like I do have an expertise in this area. We will include other folks that will be on that committee that will not be scoring, but they will be there also for expertise. But I feel very comfortable that we will do this the right way. At the end of the day, we all know who makes the decision, and that's you folks up here on the dais. We will come in with what we think is the best provider under the scope, as you had mentioned, that we draft out for everyone.
Mr. Chairman, I feel comfortable with the superintendent's response. I just want to make sure I understand the process. So when we get to that point in time that you're going to come and make a recommendation, I know now that Mr. Walters is going to help the district up to a certain point, and from that point on, you're taking over with analysis, cost-benefit analysis of the various proposals, and you're going to make a recommendation to us.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right. No executive session. Governing board future request. Any future requests? None noted. Adjournment. Motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, approved. Okay.